So we're excited about today, guys, because anytime we can integrate two different tools that we have, we make it easier and more efficient for us, but we also make the agents happy too, because there's a lot of different tools, and this is allowing us to take two great ones that have a great impact and put them together. So essentially we're getting double the bang for the buck with going to one product. Now, key is here that you might have been getting some emails on this interaction between CBx and Moxi Present. So they had their rollout a little bit before us for the CBx portion. We had already been in Moxi Present, so our rollout was a little bit different. We actually just got access to it 2 days ago. So keep in mind, I also just got access 2 days ago, but the good thing is it's so easy that there really isn't a lot to have to learn. It's pretty much ready for us. I just need to show you a couple things so you guys can be in and out and utilize it immediately. So let's take a step back. Let's talk about, let me show you what it was before they integrated it into Moxi, and then we'll go ahead and show you it in Moxi now. So for those of you who are not familiar, CBx Buyer Locator and the CBx Listing Experience were products from Coldwell Banker, and they were found on CB Exchange, which has now merged into CB Desk. So if you were to come here, basically the Listing Experience and the Buyer Locator not only kind of created a presentation much like Moxi Present does, but it also helps to dictate based off data where a potential buyer for a specific area or location could be found, which helps you target market, and it helps you understand pricing and maybe where to adjust pricing for your area. Now, if I just jump in here to Buyer Locator, let me just give you a very fast glimpse of what you would have done before. You would have come in here to CBx, you would jump in, put your location in. So this would be your seller zip code. And then it gives you this full range of information from neighborhood to median price to even the average household income. All these factors are important when you're really staging a home and really positioning it for a certain price in your market. And then it puts in here the top 10 buyer matches. So it's a lot of really great information. It's definitely something we wanted to still continue to use. Now, what's happened is you no longer need to go into CBx Listing Experience. The brand has actually connected it with Moxi. Now, keep in mind, this is something important for you guys and for the agents as well. What we would like for you guys to do is to access our product directly through my.schmidtresources.com, which takes you directly into Moxi, or you can access it through schmidtresources.com going through the Moxi tab. We would prefer that they, for now, actually not utilize this tab here. And at the moment, it actually is not a link that is working, and they are actively working on that. So keep that in mind. But that was just a glimpse of what it was. So let's take a look at what we have to work with now, which I love and I think it's great. And I just got it 2 days ago, and I have already put it to use. I've already helped my father use it, which we are now dictating in his price range and in his area, what we should do to either update the property, or should we go in and actually consider him doing no updates and position it to sell for the potential buyer that's in his area. Okay, so let's jump in. Okay, so we are at Schmidt Resources. I'm sorry, once you get from Schmidt Resources into Moxi, it'll actually take you in. And to access Moxi Present, which is where our CBx Now Buyer Locator slides are, we are going to click the Present button in our navigation panel. And it's the same thing, guys. I mean, we don't have to learn anything new from Moxi Present. You guys at this point probably have had a good amount of training on how to create a presentation. This one's going to be specific to a seller because we want to really showcase where a potential buyer for your seller might be. So instead of doing a full-on presentation of creating a new slideshow or a new presentation, which we've done in previous training, I'm going to focus specifically on the CBx interaction and integration. To do so, I'm going to go ahead and take a presentation that I've made for my parents, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the Edit Tool button, which is going to take me back into the presentation. Now, I'm going to show you where to access the new slides, and then I'm going to play with them for a minute just so you guys can see they're still intuitive and interactive, just like the rest of Moxi Present. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump over to the step 5, which is where all of our presentation pages are loaded once we've created our presentation. If you are on this call now and you haven't done that yet, please see a previous Moxi Monday, and we can show you very easily and quickly how to create the presentation to this point. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna notice on this side how I have a slide that says CBx Buyer Profile. And then we also have another slide in here that has Buyer Profile Intelligence. And then I have one in here that says Buyer Profile Map. So it looks just like what we saw within the CBx location previous on desk. But now it's integrated and it's pulled in. But there is one step you need to do because it doesn't come preloaded into your listing presentation. We're just going to add it from the library, just like we do if we want to add in Blue Book or Black Book pages. So let's go ahead and show you where I access this. To do so, at the top of our presentation slides, we're going to click on Add Page. And this is very simple and quick. We're going to choose Add from Library. And just like we do for Blue Book or Black Book, so our presentation pages that we've provided to you, they're going to showcase in the exact same library, which makes it even easier. So at this point, hopefully you guys are used to seeing these and our agents are used to seeing these. So if you notice over here, I have a panel. My report pages are the pages that are already existing in my presentation. And then if you notice here, it says CBx Pages, and I'll go ahead and I'll click on those two. So these are the two slides that now pull in automatically and that you can add to your individual slides here. So I'm going to go ahead and just open it up so you can see it. But as soon as it loads in here, it kind of just gives you a little bit of information here. Homes in 44136. It tells you the vacant, rental, and owner occupied. And just like the rest of Moxi Present, if I were to click over here, it actually helps me understand the median age of residents. And that's helpful too when I'm target marketing. Let's take a peek at the next one. The next one says Buyer Profile Map, and I'll show you this, guys, digital live right in the presentation itself. So this is actually the same information where it's telling you potentially where your best bet for a buyer is, and it's giving us a little bit more information specifically about them using data. I always like to use the word big data, but based off of interactions and behaviors and literally where they're clicking and looking online, it's actually helping us determine where the buyer for that property might be and where they might be more actively currently looking. So that's the CBx Pages. It's all simple, it's clean, it's nice and on its own to make it easy for people to find. Now here's the benefit. In addition to the integration with CBx, we also have the brand, which created all of these great content pages to fill and load your presentations with now. So if you notice on this left-hand panel, if I were to go over here and I were to click Brokerage Pages, this is what we, as Schmidt family of companies, has provided to you. So the first section here, these are our luxury Black Book pages. Then we have our blue residential Blue Book pages. And then we've got Schmidt at a glance bullet points. And then for the recruiting, for the managers out there, we actually have Join the Blue. So keep in mind for these, as we as a company, Schmidt family of companies, update our marketing, what's going to happen is they're going to come in here, pull these out, and then renew them with the new updated slides with the new stats. So that's the good thing with this, is we're going to kind of take care of that on our end. And for those of you who haven't seen those yet, it's exactly what's in the Blue Book. So you can actually go through the Blue Book, choose which ones you want to add by choosing Add, and then it puts it right into your presentation. So it's the same concept for the Coldwell Banker presentation pages. And if you guys notice this number here, there's quite a few. There's so many. So between all of our books on our end, we've got 135. But if I were to come right here to Coldwell Banker, these are the brand's content pages. So there it says there's 485. It breaks it down though to make it a little bit more easy for you. For example, if you wanted just to do a seller's presentation and have like national graphic stats and general pages, there are 41 available. If you're looking for recruiting, that's 392 pages, but keep in mind, ours on our end are going to be more specific to our company. So you might want to look towards those. And then as mentioned, you know, these are pages from the brand, which means other companies utilizing this specific area here would have access to these pages. We're going to continuously be adding more to these, so keep your eyes out for that. And then again, we've got in here CBA, seller's presentation, we've got a buyer's presentation, and we have miscellaneous pages as well. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to do simple seller's presentation in here. These are universal pages that would really apply to anybody. And if you notice, there are quite a few. And what you really just want to take just the first time doing is just take a peek at them, because we don't want this many pages. Nobody's going to sit there and spend a lot of time reading and reading. They don't want a manual. So I think it's more important to just kind of pick out a couple that you feel are really relevant to your seller or to tell your story of the brand. And then you can add those simply when you're already in it by clicking the add button at the top. I'll go ahead and I'll do that one right now. And then if I happen to feel like, okay, I clicked on it, but I don't want that slide, I can very easily click the remove button. So accessing all the new content is simple, it's easy, it takes just seconds. And then you guys get to come in here and dictate and tell Present what of the brand material you want to use in addition to our material. So I would say let's focus on ours because ours has our numbers and our stats, but there's a lot of great stuff in here that is actually even above and beyond what we have. For instance, if you want to add in some staging, those are great ones, especially when you're talking to a seller, when you don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation about not having a litter ban in the kitchen, which we all know sometimes that happens. So those content pages are in here and it kind of works it out, what needs to be done. And it literally will list it in here as well. So there's a lot of great content. So let me show you, once we add it in, what it's going to look like into our presentation. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come back in here and choose presentation, or I could have chose the pages button and it would have taken me back here as well. So what happens when you add in the pages, it usually just loads them in somewhere up at the top, but you necessarily probably don't want them at the top, because we would really like this, you know, the comparison, the CMA to be at the top. So what you get to do when you actually have your information loaded in here, for example, when I added in my CBx buyer profile, it was at the top, I'm able just to click on it very quickly and pull it down and manipulate it to go wherever I feel like necessary in my conversation flow. So I get to still continue with the way that I need to have my conversation. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it right down here towards the end. So I'm kind of talking about the market, the comparison, so he can look in and see what his house compares to his neighbors, what upgrades they've done and what they haven't done, so we can start to get an idea of what the value of his should be and what we should price it out, because you know sometimes that's a little bit different depending on the market. So let me go ahead in here. Let me make sure my stuff is set to go. Okay, this looks good. Let me move this up one more. Let's take a quick look here. Notice, here's a trick for simplicity for the future. If I've taken my time to build this presentation, even though it's for my father, I can use the same presentation for anybody else, so I don't even have to take the time to sit here and add my pages. So if I've gone through everything and I'm locked in stone and I know what pages I really want in every presentation, what I get to do, and here's the cool part, I can say at the very bottom, save as template, and I'm gonna put it in here, and I can just call it, just as a basic thing here, seller presentation. And then I'll show you how we get to access the same presentation, edit it, swap out the MLS number or add in the new address, and it will then take all of the previous seller's information out, immediately swap it with content from the MLS from the new seller or that I've added manually, and then it will immediately have that seller have their own presentation. So I don't even have to continuously go in and create new ones, which is honestly why I have so many, because I just kind of keep making them real quick off that same one. So that's a quick little trick there. So now that I've saved it and I've pulled my slides in here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to the top and click View. This is how we're gonna see it either in digital form or in print form. Keep in mind, we do offer this in a print form. and it's interactive. So the slides, at least for the print form for this, are not going to be interactive. They're just going to be set print. So let's go ahead and take a peek at what this is going to look like here. I'm going to use this little navigation bar at the bottom. If I was teaching the full session here, I would go through each of these slides. But for time saving and to focus on our priority of CBx, I'm going to use this little option at the bottom. For those who don't know, this is how you scroll up and down, but the 3 lines in the box here actually lets you navigate from page to page. So in conversation with your potential client, you can bounce back and forth and you don't have to sit there and just manually scroll. What we're going to do right now is I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to click right here, right into where our buyer profile intelligence slide is. So as a potential consumer here, I can come in here and I'm learning about the market. I think it's so important to connect your seller, not only physically and in business, but emotionally with what's going on, because it helps them truly understand how they should price it and break that chain of, I just spent this much in my bathroom, so this is what I want in dollars. Or maybe we don't want to price something for $300,000. If what I'm seeing in my slides here is my potential buyer in my market, where I'm at right here, I'm in my buyer profile. What if they're not actually in the income range to offer for that much? And I'm more priced around $100,000. So that's how we kind of use not only Moxi Present, but these buyer specific CBx profile tabs to really hone in on what we're looking at our house today in the market today with who would buy it today versus just how much investment did they put into their property. So it helps you have those conversations. So let's look at this a little bit quicker. They've made it very easy. So even if somebody isn't that tech savvy, they're looking through here, it kind of makes sense for them. It's color coded. So this is the potential of who would be more likely to buy. And so it's telling us in here, we come right down in here, this is our 100% buyer profile match area. And it looks like they're likely to buy within 12 months. So as a perspective here, what I would say is, okay, not only can we list your property, and we've got amazing tools to do so, and it's going to all of these websites, right? We have a highest platform of social media viewage, so we're getting a great exposure. But I also now can pinpoint where I feel like your potential buyer is. And so I'm going to take that further, and I can even now target market to that area. So if you actually look in here, if I were to actually click on any one of these, it actually will be interactive and tell you more information about them. If you noticed on the side, I've got the median age, I've got, gosh, even like the bachelor's degree, most visited websites. So where are they looking, right? Where are they specifically looking? So you want to make sure you're using your websites here. So our Moxi website, the more you use it, the more your SEO goes up. Well, that's where they're looking. Are you jumping on Facebook and sharing your social media content? Just yesterday in First and Third, we gave you a way to put the blog inside your actual website, to use that content on social media. So this is just how, and look at this, email, how many times per month. I mean, just a lot of great information in here just for you to focus your mindset on target marketing. But in addition to what you're looking at and seeing at the bottom here, and I don't know if it's hard to see, I have 2 other options. I'm gonna go ahead and click on one. It says, the blue one says households that changed hands. We're at the bottom right-hand corner. And then it just flips it here. So the number of times right in here. So this slide is households that have changed hands. And then this one in green is, it says change in total population. So it's just extra slides that we have in here for more information for the area and targeting our potential buyer. So let's go to the next one here. I took this one out of order. Typically, I would have put this one first. That way, when they're going through their information, they're going to get a little preview on what CBx buyer profile is, because they don't know that word. They don't know what that means. So it just gives them a little description, and then it tells them what it includes. There are a lot more of these particular slides on locating a buyer in the brand's content. So if you kind of go through, you can create that conversation with the slides that are already built in with our Blue Book pages, and then a couple brand pages. You're literally creating the conversation you're having with your client. So I've noticed that especially new agents are ecstatic about this too, or even ones that kind of want to get back in the groove because they don't feel like they know the market. Just reading these slides gives you the content to have that conversation. it doesn't just teach your client, it actually teaches you about the current market today as things shift. But a couple of things in here, like staging to sell. I did add this one in. So this one isn't specifically CMA, you know, integrated like we had our previous slide pages, but this is more towards that conversation of let's put the idea in their head of how to price it correctly. So very simple, very easy. So it's interactive, just like the other ones. And I'm going to run up here real quick and give you just a preview. I'm sure all of you have seen this by this point, but basically this is actually breaking down that property compared to those pending and those sold and those currently on the market. So not only are they getting a full CMA, they're getting a true understanding of the market and where their buyer is coming from. So let's go ahead and jump over to the chat box. Honestly, this is pretty simplistic today, but I want you guys to ask any questions you have. Keep in mind, we just got this yesterday too, or 2 days ago, and that was it. That's all that really is in here. There wasn't much to it. Okay, does anybody have any specific questions? And then my second question I would love for you guys to answer real quick, just like we did yesterday. I want you to answer to me, do you feel like this would be valuable? And do you feel like your agents will use this? If you can jump in the chat bar, again, it helps us interact with how we teach everybody, and then it helps us understand the product in your specific office and usage to how we can help you get it integrated a little bit more. Okay, so let's go through and look through here. Okay, so yes, we feel like this is valuable. We think they're going to use it. I think every agent, Rhonda says, I think every agent should use this. I completely agree. Right now, I want you to think about this, and I want you to teach this and talk about this with the agents and the clients, as right now is an emotional time. Everyone says things are about business, but specifically now, people need peace of mind. Our tool is exactly what this is doing. It's giving me peace of mind that I can market it correctly to be on the market for the least amount of time and find the buyer that is necessarily probably going to purchase my property. So for me, I feel like it doesn't just cater to the analytics, the numbers, the data for all those minded people. It caters to the emotional end of it too, because I, as a client, would want to help. I want to feel like I'm making the decision. And by reading and learning this on my own, instead of just a realtor telling me this, I'm connected emotionally, and I can help make that decision a little bit better. And it is helping me with my conversation, so I can help them understand how they need to clean out certain rooms so that their buyer is going to be potentially more attracted to their property. Okay, so what do we have in here? We have, yes, valuable. Integrated is so much better than separate freestanding product as it used to be. I agree. That's a good point, Becky. I think more people are going to be using it now because it's one less place to go to. Don't you agree? One less place. We have a lot of tools, and it's great that we do. But you guys know, all of us in the training team, every time something integrates with something else, we're ecstatic because we get to make it one less thing for everybody to do. Okay, so I have buyers are not our issue. We need listings. Exactly. So they're utilizing this to get your listings. So for example, right now, putting it on the market by showing them that we can find where their potential buyer might come from, we're letting the people who are still hesitant. So the people who are on the market are already there, but we still have some that are on the fence. This is to get those potential people to feel comfortable and to understand that we have the tools to get their get their properties sold so that we can get those more listings. So this is to curate more listings and the potential of this to curate more leads as well. So I agree with you. It says, so can we do a generic presentation for generic listing leads and post on social media? Yes, great point. If you wanted to do a generic, let's go in here, I'll show you that real quick. So it doesn't need to be for a certain property. This actually does allow you to create a presentation on your own. So if I were to come back to my present main page, which is my library of everything I've created, and I were to go create new, what I would do is I would come down here. You can even say, if I read this correctly, generic presentation, yes. You can actually do a non-listing presentation, or you can do a seller presentation. Both of these would allow you to make it very generic. But I would say if you didn't want to have it connected directly to an MLS with the CMA in it, you would want to go with the non-listing, and it has the exact same options. These, with the exception of the buyer portions here, those slides are in the non-listing and also in the seller. Obviously, the buyers wouldn't need the buyer tour packages, but all of them have the new brand presentation slide, which is good. So you're at full freedom. This option lets you make a personal listing presentation so you can go get those listings. And then it also allows you to even do newsletters. So we can even add, for those of you who are using this option to create newsletters, you can add that new option in there of something that we now have the ability to do. And then as you create that presentation, so let's say you did that presentation, it's a general presentation, just the exact same way as I would do, I already have one open, the same way that I would actually create this and share it on social media. What happens when I click view and I'm back in my presentation, it gives me a link at the top of my presentation. So I'm actually able to copy and highlight this and paste it directly to social media. But what's beautiful about this is when you're sending it to a consumer, and I choose this option here, which says send, what it does is it actually gives it to them in a really nice, easy, clean way. And I'll do it real quick just so you guys can see me. And then I know we're getting right at time here. I send it to myself. And I'm going to put in here, send the presentation in digital, but I'm also going to choose send in PDF so they can get it for those of you that still need it in PDF. I would write my subject in here and then put my greetings in here. And it's always going to be checked, send a copy to myself so you guys can see it for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And so this is the way that they receive it. Okay, let's give it just a couple seconds here. And then it comes very nicely to where all they have to do is click on a button and it will say see presentation and take them directly in. So I've even done something like where I've highlighted, here we go, seller presentation. See how this is how they receive it, nice and clean and easy, view presentation, just so you guys know. If I clicked on this, it would take me into the presentation. But what I've actually done several times is I've actually come in here and highlighted this and clicked copy, and I've actually pasted it in different locations so that it actually doesn't show that really long URL. And then in an email, for example, when I'm sharing it with somebody else, in addition to that person, if I just hit paste, oops, sorry, I want to highlight the whole thing, sorry. I think I needed to go like this. Let me hit reply. And that way, instead of constantly doing that again, I just hit reply and then I was able to hit copy and then come down here and then it pastes it just like this. So it says view presentation. So those are just some ways to be able to share it. But yes, I'm able to jump in here, take this link, share it to social media. But the key here is we should curate leads by telling people the potential of what we could do. So I'm constantly saying right now is the perfect time. You want to go in, you can even message people in social media or put a post on your page. We are currently able to do an interactive, no hassle, no obligation CMA to see where you're currently priced at today's market. So it helps you guys really work with your client a little bit more. Did I hit all of the questions, or are there any more specific to just these simple slides that we've got added in? Let me run through here. Carrie, did you see any that I might have missed? Oh, I think she was up. I think we hit them all. Did you guys have any more specific questions?
Yeah, I think you hit them all, Elizabeth. That's really great content.
Okay, great. I think it's easy, guys. And I think you guys are kind of saying you think it's easy too. But again, nothing new for people to really learn, just that they are in the library where we housed all of the other paperwork already, or all the other documents already. So we would just hit add page, add from library. And now in addition to Blue Book and Black Book, we now have CBx Buyer Locator. So again, cool thing is they don't even have to learn CBx now. We can actually take that off our training because it's now this. This is our training. It's one less thing even for you guys. So I think that's a good thing. I think we're good to go. If we have no more questions, I think we can call it a wrap.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, guys. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.